It was one of those ordinary afternoons, the kind of day where everything feels routine, where nothing stands out. The sun was just starting to dip in the sky, casting a warm golden light through the streets of downtown Chicago. I had a couple of hours between meetings, so I decided to grab a coffee at Brewed Awakenings, the cafe I'd been visiting for years. The sound of the espresso machine, the chatter of people around me, the hum of soft indie music kit was comforting. I needed the escape. The hustle of work had worn me down, and I figured a quiet moment with a latte would help clear my head. I pushed open the door, the familiar bell above it ringing softly as I entered. The place was packed as usual, but there was a cozy spot by the window where I liked to sit. I glanced around to see if anyone was already there, and that's when I saw her, Emily, my wife. She was sitting at the table near the window, looking radiant as ever. Her long brown hair cascaded over her shoulders, her green eyes sparkling with the reflection of the sunlight. Her laugh, it was that genuine, free laugh that always made my heart skip a beat. The sound of it made me smile the way it always had. I hadn't heard her laugh like that in a while, but something was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but as I stood frozen in the doorway, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. There was a man sitting across from her. I didn't recognize him at first. He was tall, well-dressed, with short, neatly styled hair and a clean-shaven face. His posture was relaxed, leaning in slightly as Emily spoke. Their conversation seemed light, but the way they exchanged glances, it was different, too comfortable, too intimate. I felt a knot form in my stomach, one I had never felt before. Was I imagining things? Was I just being paranoid? I took a step forward, my mind racing, but I couldn't stop staring at them, to know what was going on. I knew I should walk away, leave the cafe, and pretend I didn't see anything, but I couldn't. I couldn't just ignore the pit in my stomach that told me something wasn't right. I slowly made my way through the cafe, keeping my distance, trying to stay calm. Emily hadn't noticed me yet. I hesitated for a moment, standing near the counter, debating whether to approach her or leave. And then, as if on cue, she looked up. Her eyes locked with mine. For a split second, time stood still. Her face dropped, her smile faltered, and her eyes widened in panic. She quickly looked away like she was trying to pretend she hadn't seen me. But it was too late. I'd already seen everything. I could feel my chest tightening, my heart racing. Was this a joke? A misunderstanding? I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but instead, I just stood there, my voice lost in the chaos of the cafe. The man across from her noticed me staring and turned his head. He gave a quick, polite smile, his hand extending for a handshake. "Hey there, I'm Mark, a colleague of Emily's from work," he said, his voice casual to casual. The smile on his face didn't quite reach his eyes, and something about it felt off. Mark, that was his name. The name that would haunt me for the rest of my life. I took a deep breath and extended my hand. "Ion," I said, trying to sound calm, but my voice was shaky. I could feel my palms sweating. "Nice to meet you." Emily's face was pale now, a look of guilt washing over her as she stood up awkwardly. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. The silence between us felt deafening. Finally, she broke it. "Ion, I didn't expect to see you here," she said, her voice faltering, her eyes darting nervously between me and Mark. My heart sank. "I didn't expect to see you here." Those words hit me harder than anything else. Was this what it had come to? She hadn't even bothered to hide it. She wasn't even trying to cover it up. I tried to steady myself, but all I could think of was how long this had been going on. How many times had she lied to me? How many times had she said she was working late or had plans with friends? How many times had I been the fool? I looked at Mark one last time, then back at Emily. "Is this why you've been distant lately?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't answer. She just looked down, unable to meet my gaze. I turned on my heel and walked away without another word. I left the cafe without looking back. The cold air hit my face, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. The pain in my chest was overwhelming, but I couldn't focus on that. I had to get away. I needed space. As I walked back to my car, I could feel my mind racing. Oh, why didn't she tell me? How would she let me live in this illusion of a perfect marriage when it was all a lie? I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to fix this. I got into my car, slammed the door, and drove without a clear destination. I ended up parked outside our apartment building, sitting in silence, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I thought about everything, all the small signs I had missed, the late nights, the strange excuses. I thought about the man Mark. I thought about how they looked at each other, how natural it seemed to them, and it made me sick. I didn't want to confront her. I didn't want to hear her lies. Didn't want to see her face and hear her apologies. I didn't want any of it. I just wanted her to know how much she had hurt me. I went home. The apartment was quiet. The familiar hum of the refrigerator was the only sound in the room. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a pen and a piece of paper, and started writing. I didn't think about it. I just wrote what felt right. Don't come home. I folded the note carefully and slipped it under the door. The words were final. It was over. I sat on the couch, waiting for her to come back. Waiting for her to walk in and see the note. Waiting for her to realize that everything had changed. But she didn't come. Not that night. Not the next day. The silence between us grew louder. I didn't know what to feel anymore. Anger, sadness, betrayal. It was all there, tangled together in a mess of emotions I couldn't untangle. And then I realized something. This wasn't just about her. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about me, about who I was, who I had become. I had spent so much time trying to hold on to a version of her that no longer existed, a version of myself that was no longer true. But in that moment, I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore.